Okay, so let's practice creating an application balancer of type HTTP and HTTPS. So let's create it, and we can have a look at how application balancers work. We have a really nice graph around it, but we know this already. So what is the name going to be? Well, it's going to be demo ALB, and we can either have an internet-facing ALB or an internal-facing ALB, but this is for private traffic. So because we want to publicly access our application, currently we're going to use an internet-facing scheme. Then we're going to use an IPv4 type of stack for gaining access to our load balancer. Okay. Next, in terms of network mapping, we have to specify a VPC we're going to operate in, as well as how many subnets and AZs we want to operate in. So I'm going to tick all three subnets, so EUS 1B, 1C, and 1A, and they will automatically get the right subnet assigned to them. Perfect. Next, we need to assign a security group to our load balancer. So we already have created one. So my first load balancer security group is going to be assigned to it. And then we need to specify listeners and routing. So this is saying, hey, if someone is accessing our load balancer from the protocol HTTP on port 80, then forward to, and we need to create a target group for this. So we go ahead and create a new target group, and it's going to be based on instances. So we have different target groups possible for our ALB. It could be instances, IP addresses, Lambda function, or an ALB, but this is only when we're using an ALB. So the one we want to use right now is instances. So this is, we want to have the ALB sent data into our network traffic into our EC2 instances. So the target group name is going to be my first target group. And the protocol is HTTP port 80. The VPC is this one. HTTP1 is fine. And then we're going to scroll down, health check, so we can specify some advanced health check settings if we wanted to. So number of healthy is going to be 3, unhealthy is going to be 2, timeout is going to be 4 seconds, and interval is going to be 5 seconds. Okay, so this is good. And the success code is 200. So we'll click on next, and then we're going to register 2 out of the 3 instances we have. So make sure to only include 2, and I will show you why after, okay? So review targets, we have 2 targets out of the 3 available instances. So now let's create this target group. So it has been created. Now back into our load balancer, we can refresh this and select my first target group. Very nice. So here's the summary. We have a demo ALB, internet facing on IPv4. Attached to it is 1 security group. Network mapping has 3 AZs, and port 80 HTTP redirects to my first target group. Okay, let's create this load balancer. And now we're done. So let's view the load balancers. And now we have to wait for it to be provisioned. Okay, so my ALB is now provisioned, and I can go to my DNS name, open it, and then I get the hello world from the IP. And if I refresh again, I get the different hello world from my different EC2 instances. So my ALB is working as expected, just like the CLB did. But because this is an application balancer, we get some added benefits. And so to prove this to you, I'm going to go into target groups, and I'm going to create a second target group. So we have my first target group. I'm going to create a target group based on instances, and I'll call it my second target group. And then we have this VPC, which is perfect. We have HTTP1, scroll down. The health check just looks like before. So healthy threshold 3, unhealthy, timeout 4, interval 5. Here we go. And click on next. And then I can register, I can't remember which one it is, but one missing instance, the one that is not, it doesn't really matter which one you choose. But anyway, I will just add 1 instance for the sake of this purpose, of this exercise. And I will include as pending below, which is a target for my target group. Create this target group. And now we have a second target group. So the cool thing is that if we go back into our ALB now, we can have multiple listeners redirect to multiple target groups. So right now we have 1 listener on port 80 that is forwarding to my first target group, but we can view and edit the rules of this listener to start leveraging other target groups. So I can add a rule in here, and I can say, okay, if the path is, for example, /tests, then you should forward your response to my second target group. And the idea behind this is that, okay, now if we save this, well, we have 2 rules, and the first one that's going to be evaluated is the path, and it goes to my second target group if it matches. Else, by default, you should route to my first target group. And we can insert many rules. For example, we can say if the path is /constant, then return a fixed response, which is maybe 404 constant error response, whatever you want to think of. And again, save this, And now we have different rules for our load balancer. So you can get creative, but you can see how we are way more powerful than the classic load balancer. And we can do routing based on path, host header, HTTP header, query string, source IP, and so on. So you can get very creative with these load balancers. So let's try it out. Let's check it out. So we go to the demo ALB. We take the DNS, which is right here, which is already open in here. So this works. Right now we're going to get 2 instances. If I do /constant, I'm going to get the constant header response directly sent by my load balancer. And if I go to /test, well, it's not going to work. I'm going to get a not found because my EC2 instance is not configured to reply to the /test type of query. But this query is actually being redirected to my second target group, which sort of proves the point I was trying to make. So to finish this, let's go and clean it up. So in the listeners, I can just remove some rules that I've created. So these 2 will be removed. I will delete them. Then back into my target groups, I will delete my second target group. And in my first target group, I'm going to just register one more target. So I will register targets and make sure that I can't remember which one. So I'll add them 3. And then, okay, this one is being added. So that's perfect. Click on register pending targets. And here we go. So as you can see, this is the target group now, which will perform the health checks and make sure that all the instances are healthy. So now 3 instances are healthy out of 3. So this is perfect. And so that means that if we go back into our load balancer at the root of the URL, we get hello world from 1, 2, and 3 kind of instances. So that's perfect. Our target group is working properly. So is our ALB. And that's it. So I hope you liked this lecture, and I will see you in the next lecture.